Welcome back, ladies and gents, to the She Knows Pro Football Podcast. Once again, I'm Alice, aka the NFL Girl. This offseason has been so intriguing, and I've enjoyed covering all the weekly happenings. So let's just jump into it. So we're going to talk about EJ Manuel, Cody Kessler, Lee Smith, Mike Maccagnan, Geno Smith, Patrick Peterson, Darron Lee, Jamie Collins, Michael Floyd, Brandon King, Shane Ray, Chris Long, and 5 rookie running backs to draft in fantasy. So let's start with EJ Manuel. On Monday, ESPN reported that the Chiefs' backup quarterback EJ Manuel announced his retirement from the league. The 6'5", 237-pound passer spent 4 years with the Buffalo Bills before signing with the Oakland Raiders. He was released before the start of the 2018 season and signed with the Chiefs this offseason. The 29-year-old holds 4 rookie passing records from his time with the Bills, including most passing touchdowns by a rookie quarterback at 11, most completions by a rookie quarterback at 180, highest completion percentage by a rookie quarterback at 58.8, and best rookie quarterback rating with the minimum 7 appearances at 77.7. In his 6-year NFL career, Manuel amassed 343 passes for 3,767 passing yards and 20 passing touchdowns, along with 339 rushing yards and 4 rushing touchdowns. Cody Kessler has a new home for 2019. On Monday, the Eagles announced the signing of the 26-year-old quarterback to back up Carson Wentz. The USC alum was traded last season to the Jaguars after spending the previous 2 with the Browns. In his 3-year NFL career, the 6'1", 215-pound veteran amassed 224 passes for 2,215 passing yards and 8 touchdowns, along with 5 interceptions. Lee Smith is going back to the Bills this season. On Tuesday, Ian Rappaport reported that Buffalo was signing the blocking tight end to a 3-year, $9 million contract. The 31-year-old spent the last 4 seasons with the Raiders after spending the previous 4 seasons with the Bills. Smith, who is more well known for his blocking ability rather than his pass-catching ability, has amassed 56 receptions for 392 receiving yards and 7 receiving touchdowns in his 8-year NFL career. Jets are making massive changes with their front office personnel. On Wednesday, the Jets announced the firing of General Manager Mike Maccagnan and Vice President of Player Personnel Brian Heimerdinger. Adam Gase was named interim general manager. The decision to fire Maccagnan comes just 3 weeks after the draft. Jets owner Chris Johnson stated the decision to terminate Maccagnan was a decision that evolved and took a while. Gase had a strained relationship with Maccagnan since his arrival in New York. This became most painfully obvious in the lead up to the draft in awkward pre-draft meetings where Maccagnan would not listen to Gase's opinion on players he thought would best fit the young squad. The two did not see eye to eye on which players the team should draft. Also, Maccagnan was notorious for taking too long to make decisions in free agency, and in the case of Le'Veon Bell, spending too much of the team's cap on one player. Maccagnan also disagreed with Gase on signing free agent center Matt Paradis, who ended up signing with the Panthers, and tight end Darren Fells, who ended up signing with the Texans. The beef became so heated, Gase refused to sit near Maccagnan during the draft. This same strained relationship was said to have been the undoing of Todd Bowles' tenure with the team in 2018. Chris Johnson finally stepped in and decided to keep his new head coach over his old general manager and terminate Maccagnan this week. The Jets' search for a new general manager will begin immediately, and Johnson advised Gase will assist with the search. The New York Jets weren't finished jettisoning people out of town. One day after firing general manager Mike Maccagnan, the team agreed to trade linebacker Darron Lee to the Kansas City Chiefs. Jets received a 2020 6th-round pick in exchange for the 24-year-old. The 6'1", 232-pound veteran is a former first-round draft pick who never lived up to his potential while playing in New York. Chiefs are hopeful the new surroundings will give Lee the boost he needs to become the player he was expected to be coming out of Ohio State in 2016. In his 3-year NFL career, Lee has amassed 241 tackles, 4 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, 3 interceptions, and 1 defensive touchdown. Lee took to his Twitter shortly after the deal happened to express his excitement for his new team. Geno Smith has found a new place to play quarterback this season. On Wednesday, the Seattle Seahawks signed the 28-year-old as a backup to Russell Wilson. This is Smith's fourth team in 6 years. He's previously played for the Jets, Giants, and Chargers. Smith will compete against former Broncos first-round draft pick Paxton Lynch for the backup role in Seattle for 2019. The 6'3", 220-pound veteran was highly touted coming out of college and was expected to be a franchise QB for the Jets when they drafted him in 2013. Unfortunately, the journeyman passer never lived up to the hype and signed with the Giants in the 2017 offseason, where he lasted just one season before signing with the Chargers and lasting one season. Meanwhile, Wilson has missed a total of 2 games in his 7-year NFL career, so whoever is the backup will rarely if ever see playing time. In his 6-year NFL career, Smith has amassed 523 passes for 6,182 passing yards and 29 passing touchdowns, along with 661 rushing yards and 7 rushing touchdowns. Arizona Cardinals cornerback Patrick Peterson will not see the field for the first 6 games of the 2019 season. On Thursday, Ian Rappaport reported that the NFL had suspended the 28-year-old for violating the league's performance-enhancing drug policy. A typical first-time violation warrants just a 4-game suspension, but Peterson tested positive for a masking agent as well, which added an additional 2 games to his suspension. The 8-time Pro Bowler dropped the appeal of his suspension and released a statement apologizing for his actions and wishing to put the incident behind him. The veteran defensive back will be able to participate in all off-season activities, but won't be available to hit the field until October the 20th against the New York Giants. The Ravens have added depth to their linebacker room. On Friday, Ian Rappaport reported that Baltimore had signed former Broncos linebacker Shane Ray. The Super Bowl 50 champion was a first-round draft pick for Denver in 2015, but battled through injuries during all 4 seasons and never lived up to the high expectations set for him. The team declined Ray's 5th-year option, making the 26-year-old a free agent this offseason. In his 4-year NFL career, the 6'3", 245-pound veteran amassed 94 tackles, 14 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, 2 fumble recoveries, and 1 defensive touchdown. Jamie Collins is headed back to the Patriots. On Friday, Ian Rappaport reported that New England was signing the 29-year-old linebacker to a 1-year, $1.05 million contract with $250,000 in guaranteed money and a max value of $5 million, including incentives. Collins began his NFL career with New England in 2013. He was traded to the Browns in the middle of the 2016 season, where he would battle injuries and inconsistent play for 2 seasons before being released this offseason and signing with the Pats. In his 6-year NFL career, the 6'4", 250-pound veteran amassed 495 tackles, 17.5 sacks, 13 forced fumbles, 23 pass deflections, and 7 interceptions. Brandon King is sticking around in New England. On Thursday, Ian Rappaport reported that the Patriots signed the 25-year-old to a 2-year extension, keeping him locked down through the 2021 season. Patriots signed King as an undrafted free agent out of Auburn in 2015, where he has become a standout on special teams. In his 4-year NFL career, the 6'2", 220-pound veteran has amassed 42 tackles and 2 forced fumbles. Ravens added another offensive weapon to help Lamar Jackson this season. On Friday, Baltimore announced the signing of wide receiver Michael Floyd to a 1-year deal. The 29-year-old journeyman spent last season with the Redskins, where he caught a total of 10 passes. He also spent time with the Cardinals, Patriots, Vikings, and Saints. He has had off-field issues that have hurt his career, but hopes to have a clean start in Baltimore. In his 7-year NFL career, the former first-round draft pick has amassed 266 receptions for 3,959 yards and 25 touchdowns. Chris Long is hanging up the cleats. On Saturday, the 34-year-old defensive end took to his Twitter to announce his retirement from the NFL and thanking the league and all his former teammates for his 11-year journey. The Eagles posted a response on Twitter shortly after, congratulating him on his impressive career and back-to-back championships and thanking him for his time with the team and service to the Philadelphia community. The Rams chimed in and thanked him for his 8 years with their team as well. In his 11-year NFL career, the 2-time Super Super Bowl champion, was the 2018 Walter Payton Man of the Year and amassed 332 tackles, 70 sacks, 15 forced fumbles, and 6 fumble recoveries. While he never amassed the career stats of his father Howie Long, and therefore will never be considered for the Pro Football Hall of Fame, Chris did manage to win one more Super Bowl than his dad, which makes him a legend in his own way. Last, I want to talk about the fantasy draft again. Previously, I talked about 5 rookie wide receivers to draft to your fantasy team, but since most fantasy drafts are run heavy, let's look at 5 rookie running backs to draft in 2019. Keep in mind these are rookies, so don't look to draft any of them early. First is Josh Jacobs of the Oakland Raiders. Despite the fact that the Raiders drafted Jacobs way too high for his level of production in college and lackluster pro day, when he's healthy, the kid is a beast with the ball in his hand. Add to this his pass catch ability, and Jacobs will make a great RB2 for the Raiders behind Doug Martin. That being said, draft him around the 12th round. Next is Justice Hill of the Baltimore Ravens. With Mark Ingram signed this offseason, the Ravens were looking for a Kamara-like complement to go along with the veteran. Enter Justice Hill. The 5'10", 200-pound running back is of similar size and speed of Kamara, so Ravens are hoping for the dynamic 1-2 punch that the Saints were blessed with the last 2 seasons. He also has the same pass-catching abilities, making him a sure RB2 in Baltimore. Draft him in the 12th round. Next is David Montgomery of the Chicago Bears. Tariq Cohen is likely the RB1, but he typically plays the slot, leaving the potential for Montgomery to be the RB2 in Chicago. The only thing is he must beat out Mike Davis for the role. This is very likely to happen with the speedy back and definitely is worth one of your late draft spots. Draft him in the 13th round. Next is Miles Sanders of the Philadelphia Eagles. Sanders is entering a likely situation of running back by committee with Jordan Howard in Philly. His pass catching ability makes him a much more valuable option for a PPR league. If Howard hits a slump as he did in Chicago last season, Sanders is likely to take over the RB1 spot, meaning he's worth one of your open slots. Draft him in the 11th round. And last is Darrell Henderson of the Los Angeles Rams. Now obviously Todd Gurley is the RB1 in LA, but with the arthritis in his knee, it's likely Gurley will have to be rested a little more than in previous seasons. This means Henderson can see some good workload, though don't expect him to be an every down back that can carry your roster. Draft him in the 14th round and stash him for a rainy day. Well, that's all the time we have today. I want to thank everyone again for listening and spreading the word of the podcast. Be sure to follow me on Twitter at TheNFLGirl320. You can also read more of my thoughts on SheKnowsProFootball.com. Thanks for listening and see you back here next week.